Foreign policy ain't about friendship, it's about interests. That's the hard truth we don't always want to hear. It sounds cold, maybe even cruel, but that's how the game is played on the world stage. America doesn't pick sides based on who they like. They pick sides based on who they need. So when we ask why America seems to be openly supporting Pakistan against India, we have to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking strategically. We've got to step out of the comfort of ideals and step into the reality of global power plays. Because in the real world, interests outweigh alliances every time. Now let's look at the map. Look at where Pakistan sits. You've got Afghanistan to the northwest, China to the north, Iran to the west, and the Arabian Sea to the south. That's not just geography, that's geopolitics. That's a front row seat to some of the world's most volatile, most important regions. And America, for decades now, has made Pakistan a piece on the board it just can't afford to lose. During the Cold War, Pakistan served as a critical ally against Soviet influence. During the War on Terror, it became a major supply line and intelligence partner in Afghanistan. Whether it was fighting communism or chasing down terrorists, Pakistan always found a way to be useful. And when you're useful, America pays attention. But usefulness doesn't just mean boots on the ground. It means giving access, sharing intel, allowing bases, offering influence in regions where America needs it most. And time and again, Pakistan has delivered just enough to keep that relationship alive. That's not loyalty. It's leverage. It's smart politics. And the U.S. respects leverage, even when it comes wrapped in instability, even when it frustrates its other allies, like India. Now you might say, well, India is a democracy, a rising power, a counter to China. Shouldn't that matter more? And the answer is, yes, it matters. But here's the thing. America doesn't want India to be too powerful. They don't want any one nation in that region getting big enough to say no, to act on its own terms, and India has been doing just that, buying oil from Russia, refusing to join Western sanctions, playing an independent game. That makes America nervous, not angry, but cautious, so they hedge their bets. They keep Pakistan close, not because they trust them more, but because they need balance. That's why you see military aid still flowing. That's why there's always a quiet channel open. Even when Pakistan harbors groups that threaten India, even when American officials condemn terrorism on camera, they keep the lines warm behind the scenes. Because if America walks away, somebody else walks in, and that somebody is China. China has already invested billions in Pakistan through the Belt and Road Initiative. They're building roads, ports, power plants. They're buying influence, and America sees that. They don't want to lose the strategic edge, so they stay. Sometimes silently, sometimes awkwardly, but they stay. This isn't about choosing good guys and bad guys. This is about controlling the board. India might be the rising star, but Pakistan is the piece America can't ignore. That's the game. That's the reality. And the sooner we understand that, the clearer the picture becomes. Because in the end, America doesn't support nations. It supports interests. And right now, Pakistan's value lies not in what it is, but in where it is, and what it can still offer when the stakes are high. The game is played in the shadows, and Pakistan plays it well. See, what most people don't realize is that the real deals, the real alliances, they don't happen on camera. They don't come with speeches and handshakes. They happen in briefings, in closed-door meetings, in the quiet spaces where power moves without applause. And when it comes to shadow politics, Pakistan has long mastered the art. It's not about being the strongest player, it's about being the most strategic. And time after time, Pakistan has positioned itself as indispensable, especially to American intelligence. You look back at history, when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, who did America turn to? Pakistan. Why? Because they needed access. They needed a partner to funnel weapons, train fighters, and destabilize the Soviet threat from the inside. That covert operation, supported by the CIA and carried out largely through Pakistan's ISI, wasn't just a military move. It was a long-term investment. And when 9/11 happened and the war on terror began, America once again went knocking on Pakistan's door. Not because they were trustworthy, but because they were necessary. Pakistan gave access to air bases, allowed drone operations, and served up intelligence that America simply couldn't get on its own. Now think about that. While the world watched America condemn extremism, while India pushed hard against cross-border terrorism, the U.S. continued to fund and support Pakistan, not in front of the curtain, but behind it. Billions of dollars in military aid, continued diplomatic cover, because when a country holds keys to your interests, you don't slam the door. You keep it cracked, just enough to reach in when needed. And Pakistan knows this. It has crafted a role where it can play both victim and broker. It can allow just enough chaos to remind the world how important it is in bringing stability. It's a dangerous dance, but one that has worked, especially with American administrations that are focused more on short-term strategic gains than long-term regional justice. And let's be real, India sees this. India knows this. But America's continued reliance on Pakistan's shadow capabilities sends a loud message. Usefulness wins. That's the game. But let's dig a little deeper, because this isn't just about covert deals. It's about leverage, and in global politics, democracy doesn't always equal priority. India is the largest democracy in the world, a rising economy, a cultural force, but America doesn't always reward values. It rewards leverage. And lately, India's independence has made Washington uncomfortable. See, when you stand too tall, when you stop taking orders and start calling your own shots, the ones who used to cheer start whispering instead. And India has started standing tall. Take recent events. India has refused to follow the Western playbook. It bought oil from Russia despite U.S. sanctions. It's resisted pressure on Ukraine. It's refused to pick a side in conflicts that don't directly serve its own national interest. And that right there, that's a signal that tells America, we're not your pawn anymore. Now, that's not disloyalty, it's sovereignty. But to a global superpower, sovereignty can feel like disobedience. So what does America do? It doesn't punish India outright. That would be too obvious. Instead, it keeps Pakistan close. It lets certain defense deals go through. It avoids backing India completely during conflicts. Not because it believes Pakistan is right, but because it wants to remind India, we have options too. This isn't about friendship. It's about power, positioning, and pressure. It's about making sure no one gets too comfortable at the top. That's the truth behind the headlines. That's the story you won't hear in press releases. But it's the one that shapes the world. And in this game, silence is strategy. And shadows are shelter. Don't let democracy fool you. It's about leverage. That's a line most folks don't want to hear, but it's the truth that sits under all the polished speeches and handshake photos. We like to believe the world works on principles, that democracies stick together, that values lead alliances. But in the real world, where policies are written in smoke, filled rooms and sealed in cold calculations, leverage beats loyalty every time. So when you see America giving silent support or turning a blind eye to Pakistan's moves against India, don't be surprised. It's not about right or wrong. It's about influence. It's about control. India has everything America claims to support. A booming democracy, a rising tech economy, a stable government, a strong military. It's a counterweight to China, a reliable trade partner, and a nation with global ambitions. But here's the uncomfortable truth. India is too independent. It doesn't dance to Washington's tune. It speaks its mind. It buys oil from Russia when the West says stop. It stays neutral in conflicts where America wants allies to pick sides. That kind of independence doesn't make India a threat, but it makes it harder to manage. And in the world of geopolitics, unpredictability is a risk America doesn't like. So what does the U.S. do? It balances. It uses Pakistan, not because it sees Pakistan as a better partner, but because it sees Pakistan as a tool. A tool to remind India that Washington has options, that alignment isn't automatic, that power must be negotiated, not assumed. You see, it's not just about being right. It's about being useful and, more importantly, being controllable. Pakistan, with all its instability, has always known how to make itself useful to America, whether in Afghanistan, in intelligence operations, or as a channel to engage indirectly with China or Iran. That usefulness, wrapped in volatility, is exactly what gives Pakistan its leverage. It's a political balancing act. America doesn't want India too close to Russia, nor too close to China. It wants India inside the room, but not at the head of the table. By keeping Pakistan in play, the U.S. sends a message: don't get too bold, don't walk too far away. That's why support often comes with conditions, why praise is often paired with criticism. The closer India moves to self-reliance in foreign policy, the more America leans into strategic ambiguity. It's not sabotage, it's strategy. At the same time, military aid to Pakistan, diplomatic silence on certain cross-border issues, and even blocking India's moves in international forums. All of it fits into that same game plan. It's not about pushing India down. It's about keeping it within reach. America doesn't want to lose India, but it also doesn't want India to forget who's in charge of the current world order. So Pakistan becomes a counterbalance, a way to apply pressure without confrontation. And let's not forget, this isn't new. This pattern has played out for decades. Whether it was the Cold War, the post-9/11 world, or the current Indo-Pacific race, America has always played both sides when it serves its goal. Democracy is the pitch, but leverage is the playbook. And while India builds its future on principles, it has to navigate a world that still runs on power politics. So when we ask why America openly supports Pakistan against India in subtle, strategic ways, the answer isn't hidden. It's just uncomfortable, because it reminds us that in global politics, values are the wrapping paper, but leverage is the gift. Military dollars talk louder than morals. That's not just a line. It's a reality that has shaped decades of U.S. foreign policy, especially when it comes to Pakistan. We hear the big words: democracy, human rights, counterterrorism, but follow the money, and you'll find where the true priorities lie. And in Pakistan's case, that trail of dollars has never really stopped, no matter what's happening on the ground. Even when the world saw clear signs of extremism, cross-border tensions, and military interference in politics, those checks kept coming. Because at the end of the day, when strategy and security are on the table, morality gets pushed to the side. Think about it. Since the early 2000s, the United States has poured tens of billions of dollars into Pakistan, mostly in military aid. This wasn't a reward for clean governance. It wasn't a gift for peace. It was payment for cooperation in the war on terror, payment for allowing drone operations, payment for intelligence access in Afghanistan. Pakistan, sitting next to a war zone, became the launchpad, and America paid for that access, not just once, but year after year, even when that same Pakistan was giving safe harbor to groups that threatened regional stability, including India's security. Now ask yourself, Why would a country as vocal about fighting terrorism continue to support a state that has a well-documented history of sheltering extremist groups? Why would military assistance flow even after the killing of Osama bin Laden was discovered not in a cave, but in a compound a short drive from a major Pakistani military base? The answer is chilling but simple: utility. Pakistan was too useful to cut off. It was messy, yes, complicated, absolutely, but still valuable, and that value came with a price tag, not a set of principles. India, on the other hand, has never asked for aid. It has stood on its own. It has fought its battles, built its economy, and expanded its influence without foreign military subsidies. And ironically, that very independence has put it at a disadvantage in America's transactional approach. When you don't need the money, you don't get the leverage. You don't become part of the back-channel deals that flow through defense budgets. You're respected, sure, but you're not relied on in the same way. That's the paradox. The more self-sufficient India becomes, the more America sees it as a partner in dialogue, not a partner in dependency, and dependency, unfortunately, drives decisions. Pakistan, by contrast, knows how to negotiate chaos. It uses instability as a bargaining chip. It says, if you don't help us, this region could burn. If you don't support us, you lose influence. And that pitch works. Every time a new U.S. administration steps in, the conversation starts again. Military cooperation, joint operations, intelligence sharing. The same script, different actors. And it always ends with more funding, more weapons, more engagement. Even as India watches, even as it raises its voice about cross-border terrorism or the unfairness of it all, the dollars keep flowing. This isn't a reflection of trust. It's a reflection of tactics. America doesn't always support who it believes in. It supports who helps it execute its goals. Pakistan has been that instrument. A flawed one, yes, but still operational. That's why aid isn't just sustained. It's defended, justified, repackaged. And India, despite being a democracy, despite its growth, doesn't operate in that same shadow economy of dependence. So when we look at the military support America gives to Pakistan, we need to stop asking if it's fair and start realizing it's strategic. Because in the language of global power, moral arguments make headlines, but money makes decisions. Don't just look at what they say. Watch what they do. That's the rule. That's the mindset you need if you really want to understand how global power works. See, words are for press conferences, for headlines, for the public, but actions are where the truth lies. And if we're paying attention, we'll notice that America's actions, when it comes to India and Pakistan, tell a story that runs far deeper than their official statements. A story where quiet moves and subtle decisions reveal a pattern of support. Yes, support. That too often tilts in Pakistan's favor, even when it comes at the cost of India's interests. Let's be clear, America says all the right things. It calls India a strategic partner, praises its democracy, praises its leadership on climate change, defense, trade, and global governance. On paper, it sounds like a friendship that should only grow stronger. But when India needs supportorial, unambiguous, actionable support, America often goes quiet. Whether it's cross-border terrorism, issues at the UN, or backing India's stance in its own region, America suddenly becomes hesitant. Careful, non-committal, and that hesitation, that's not neutral. That's a message. You can see it in how America responds to major incidents. When Indian soldiers are attacked or civilians die in cross-border terror events, the condemnation from Washington is measured, cautious. But if Pakistan even suggests pressure or instability, the diplomatic concern flows much more urgently. statements, aid packages, high-level calls. It's not about sympathy. It's about maintaining a strategic asset. The message is subtle, but unmistakable. Pakistan remains relevant, no matter the reality on the ground. Look at the United Nations too. India has long pushed for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, position it deserves by any rational standard. A stable democracy with over 1 billion people, a growing economy, a responsible nuclear power. But where's the strong American backing, always vague, always non-committal? Meanwhile, Pakistan, with far less global weight, continues to enjoy diplomatic cover from the U.S. On issues like Kashmir, where America conveniently avoids taking a clear stand. Again, don't just listen to the words, watch what they do, and trade, technology, defense deals. India faces layers of conditions, export restrictions, and hesitation from American firms and lawmakers. Pakistan, by contrast, often gets preferential military aid under the banner of regional stability. Aid that includes advanced surveillance, weapons systems, and logistics, tools that eventually shape the balance of power in the region. All in the name of preventing chaos. But what kind of balance is that when the threats to India's security are repeatedly overlooked? Even in public diplomacy, there's a pattern. During tensions, you'll hear the U.S. urge both sides to de-escalate. Both sides must show restraint. Both sides must engage in dialogue. But when one side is clearly the aggressor, and the other is defending its people and sovereignty, that language becomes more than neutrality. It becomes silent alignment. Because calling out the truth risks losing the leverage that Pakistan provides. So America speaks in soft tones, not because it doesn't know, but because it chooses not to act. India watches, the world watches, and slowly the trust wears thin, because partnership isn't about polite language. It's about showing up when it matters. And for too long, America's actions have failed to reflect its promises. In the end, nations don't remember what you said. They remember what you did.